do's and don'ts of dangerous.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
3, 2, 1. Hello! Everyone, welcome to Mom, It's My Life!
Welcome to the Mom, It's My Life podcast. This episode features adults using adult language. Listener discretion is advised. Satan, shut the fuck up.
So,
Spooky
This is spooky edition of Halloween
Christmas
special.
time.
It's got Halloween time.
Halloween time.
Yeah, happy Halloween, guys.
It has no value to you listening, but we're sat here with all the lights off with just our laptop screen. Because we're feeling real spooky.
We're like,
millennials.
woohoo! Because we're crazy motherfuckers.
We are crazy motherfuckers.
Also,
if anyone walks in, they'll be like, what the fuck are they doing?
I can't believe
Having
I just
MacBook
said
wars in the dark.
I just said happy Halloween, and that's the lamest thing ever.
What?
Happy Halloween.
It's like when people say when people say happy Christmas, it's Merry Christmas.
What is it?
Merry Halloween.
Merry Halloween.
Yeah, but happy Halloween's like it should be like shit Halloween. Have a shit one and die.
Spooky
Anyway.
Ghoulish Halloween.
Hello, mortals.
So our plan for today, for this podcast, we're going to all read a ghost story that we've been looking into and doing a bit of research. We'll discuss them, poke holes in them, probably.
100%.
Chris will 100% poke holes.
Chris, the skeptic.
The skeptic.
The
you know,
skeptic amongst us.
The one who
Chris-
hasn't summoned his
Spirit.
Hang on,
guide.
you have summoned your
It
spirit
didn't
guide.
fucking work, did it?
I haven't summoned my spirit guide. Bronnie's been summoning spirit guides.
I have a
Just
spirit
left,
guide.
right, and centre.
I was talking
She's been-
about it on my live stream I did last week, and there's people who have done it, and they were like, "Oh my god, you have a spirit guide too."
See, the thing is, right, with the whole spirit guide, so basically, Bron summoned this spirit guide, and it was like, things that you might notice after you summon your spirit guides, and it's like, numbers that
Shut
that
up!
are paired up, and I'm like, yeah, but those numbers have always been there. You're only just noticing because it's been brought to your attention.
Shut
I was just about to say my
And then-
address because
but the number, and then she was like, oh yeah, the number looked double when like we turned up, and then next door, their bins were together. And
Two,
obviously it's
that's
gonna
a
be
double.
and it's gonna be like
Yeah.
double numbers. I'm sorry, but like if you hadn't have read that, you wouldn't have been like, oh my god, I keep seeing double numbers everywhere.
Yeah, but
It just brings things to your attention. That
shut
kind of
up,
stuff.
Chris. You
That's
live
why
in
I'm.
Stoke.
That's why I'm. Right. That's just.
No,
Right.
but
Let's.
also, another thing is like good karma happens to you. So like, but I'll explain afterwards. But it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And after I explained it to Mum, something weird started happening to her.
Ooh.
Because you brought her attention to it.
I know, but when I told her about the thing, I didn't tell her that because like lights and all that flicker and shit. Like when I was telling her it, the lights started flickering in the room, and then wherever she went, like she went in the bathroom, and like the whole night, like each.
Do you know what? Right. So.
Oh, Mr. Chris, the electrician's
No.
in the house.
No, but
you.
all right. Do you want to hear? This is scary.
Okay.
Right. So this scared the bejesus out of me. I went home, right, and like a couple weeks ago when this comes out, it was last week. But and I was sat in my room, and I was sat on the bed, and then I heard this thud next to me, and I turned around, and I kid you not, a spider that was like the size of my hand landed on the pillow next to me, and I heard it. It fell from the ceiling and landed next to me. I was like, holy shit. But I'd seen the spider in my room before, so I was like looking out for it,
You
and then I couldn't say,
Aragog.
oh well, yeah. And then it made a thud. So I was like, fuck this, I'm not going to sleep in here, I'm going to sleep in the spare room. So I went to go sleep in the spare room, and this is like a couple of days after Bron's been banging on about the spirit guide thing, and she was like, yeah, I've seen lights flicker. Go into the spare bedroom, turn on the light, like, oh, the light's flickering. Fuck, this is annoying. And the light was properly flickering. So I texted Bron, I was like, yo, you'll never guess what. Spare bedroom lights flickering. Spirit guide. She was like, see, I told you. Then my mum walks in and goes, oh, it's been like that for like 2 months. We just haven't changed it.
Hang on, yeah, but a fucking spider went on you because you were being a knobhead.
That's bad
It's
karma.
good karma for me, bitches.
Right.
Anyways.
Let's
Right, who's
start.
starting? Bron, do you want to
Bron,
tell
No,
you
me?
should
start.
take it away.
Okay, so this is the story, true story, and there's also
All
like
about
films based on this. Obviously it's a true story because we tell it. Yeah. Amityville Horror House. I never know how to pronounce it. Is it like Amityville?
Yeah.
Or
Amityville.
Amityville. Okay, cool. There you go. So there's a house known as Amityville House. Oh, it sounds really
Amityville.
weird.
Like the Amity Affliction.
Amity Affliction. Yeah. Rock on.
Rock on, babe.
And it's on Ocean Avenue.
Oh, there's a place on Ocean Avenue where I used to sit and haunt with you.
Yeah. So
There you
pretty
go.
cool.
Already off to a pop punk start.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn
Hell
this
yeah. This started in 1974 with the DeFeo family.
How can you pronounce that but not Amity?
Whatever. But so there's an actual true documentary on this with all the kids.
Isn't it a big Netflix thing? Was it Netflix?
I think it's on Netflix, but the kids who are like now 50 and all that, they give their like take on it, but they won't tell. No one will tell like any interviewers or anything about what happened the night they left because they're like, nah, I don't.
See, I'd call bullshit there.
Shut up.
I call bullshit there.
Straight away with two.
Alright, guys, we're not going to tell anyone because we're going to make this big hoax and going to make a fuck load of money by doing a
I'm on the
documentary.
second line.
Come on.
So the family has 5 kids, 2 parents. Oh my god, it's our Hughes family. The oldest kid was called Ronald, so obviously Ronald. What? So he's gonna be a fucking psycho if he's called Ronald. In November.
Sorry, Ronald.
Shout out to all the
Sorry.
Rons in the world.
In November 1974 at 3 a.m, Ronald takes a shotgun and shoots his 2 sleeping parents, 2 brothers, and 2 sisters.
Heavy.
He leaves and goes back to work, and he goes to a bar at night and screams that his family got murdered and, you know, he's a mess. The police arrive and they find the shotgun and shell under his bed, so he's just fucking stupid.
Oh, yeah.
He tried blaming it on a friend for a second, but then he finally confesses and said he can't remember it, and he was possessed by ghosts in the house making him do it. I think he's still in jail.
Alright.
Oh, when did you say this was?
This is 1974.
Oh, wow.
What was his name?
Fairly recent.
Yeah.
Ronald.
Ronald DeFeo.
That's W-E.
So I don't think he's died yet, but
There we go.
yeah.
Let's have a look. Is he still in prison?
Ronald Defoe.
Killed 6.
Spoilers.
More.
If I just spoiled something from the story.
No.
Oh, right. No, it says he killed 6. Yeah, so he's sentenced
Oh
to
no, it is, yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2 brothers, 2 sisters, 2 parents.
Oh, yeah, shit. 6
Haha! Chris can't add up! Haha! Skeptic.
6 consecutive life sentences, 25 years to life, so yeah.
Yeah. Pretty crazy. So after that happened, the house was vacant for 13 months. It wouldn't sell because obviously there's like a massive like mass murder investigation going on.
Yeah.
They weren't sure if it was a murder or a demonic possession in the house.
Mm-hmm.
So 1975, the house got sold to the Lutz family, and it was super discounted because obviously like everything's gone on. It's like a 5-story house with a pool and an ocean view. An ocean avenue. So it was George, Kathy, and their 3 kids. George was the stepdad.
Right.
So as soon as they moved in, activity started happening. The priest met them the day they were moving in to bless the house, and when he walked upstairs into the playroom, as I spelt, meant to be playroom, he couldn't go in, and he just wouldn't go in, and he just like ran out the house as soon as he entered the playroom.
Oh, fuck. Well, I got a shiver then.
One of the sons... Oh, fuck off.
No, I did.
Did you actually?
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Skeptic, there's like a slight breeze
Oh,
going.
Carry on. Carry on.
One of the sons was moving stuff into the playroom, and when he was in there alone, there was randomly hundreds of flies flying around the room, and it became like a regular thing that he would like go and try and like kill all the flies and all that, swat them and
Raid everywhere.
and he went downstairs and told his parents like, oh, I've just killed all like there's like loads of flies that were like in the playroom and all that, like sprayed them all so they were dead on the floor, he could see it. They'd all go back upstairs and there'd be like nothing, no evidence, like the SWAT thingy like that he was
That's spooky.
wouldn't be there, like no dead flies were there. So they were like, what?
There's a little Mexican lady. No, I clean. Jesus, they're just cleaning it all up. Consuela's just...
Princess Consuela banana hammock.
Oh, God.
Another things that started happening, the guys in the house started getting really angry and they'd always feel really cold, but any girl who entered the house felt, you know, quite loved, like the house was a home.
Yeah.
Like they were like so oblivious to anything happening. So the George the dad could never get warm in the house. He'd always wake up at 3 a.m, which was the same time the older son shot all the family. and he'd either
Witching hour, innit? So.
yeah, he'd either wake up and hear a giant door slam or a gunshot or screams, and sometimes he'd wake up in the basement like randomly and he'd be like, how the fuck did I get here? And like creepy shit. His wife Kathy would have dreams where she'd be in Ronald's eyes, like she'd be in his body, and she was able to tell like how he shot his family and like the positions they were in when they all died. So they went and checked out all of the photos of all the dead bodies, and she was like, I've dreamt this, like they were in this position, this position, and she explained it to people before seeing the photos.
Oh wow.
So, but every night the kids went to sleep, they'd fall asleep, but they'd automatically go into the positions that the kids before them in those rooms died.
Ooh.
So that's a bit weird.
That's really spooky.
Yeah. So the family dog would try and kill itself. So basically he would try and jump over a fence if the chain was too short, and he'd like just like run away and like try and like strangle himself if he was like chained and stuff. And he'd always have like nightmares like in his sleep, like every night at like 3 a.m. and all that.
Dog.
I know, how sad. They also had a garage, and they'd literally watch it slam open and slam shut, and like every I think it was like every night they'd always like try and close it. And one night the son and father were trying to shut the garage door, and they looked up to the window that the sister was in, and they saw like a cartoon looking pig with wolf like teeth stood there like smiling, and they ran into the room. The sister wasn't there, but the rocking chair was like rocking like back and forth, and they were like, "What?"
Spooky
Nothing
in a
spooky.
rocking chair.
Mate.
I know, but seeing a pig is known as like a demonic possession.
Oh really?
And they came back in like 20 minutes later, and the rocking chair was still rocking. So it wasn't like someone just quickly nudged it; it was like still
Maybe
going.
the rocking chair was listening to Bronnie's new EP, going straight through my nightmare.
The daughter had an imaginary friend. Oh. And the name was one of the sisters who got shot, and she was sleeping in the same room that one of the sisters got shot in. But the parents obviously didn't tell the kids, like, hey, loads of people got killed here.
Yeah.
So I think was she called Jodie or someone? The girl who got shot. So, you know, the daughter was like, yeah, I've got me and my friend Jodie, and the parents were like, well, fuck, that's like one of the girls who was in that room. And they don't know any of the names.
Shit.
Yeah, she had a ghost friend. She had a Casper.
If the family saw her sometimes, they'd see a pig behind her, and would double take and it wouldn't be there. So it would be like, what the fuck? Obviously had like random cold spots, different people had different dreams about each person's death. So they only stayed in this house for 28 days.
Oh,
No way.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, if that shit was happening to me, I'd
You
be
couldn't
like,
stay.
So all within 4 weeks.
I'd try it.
After it's after Christmas, which is only a week. Oh, so this is only a week later. So
They've only been living there for a week.
Yeah.
Oh.
all of this happened in a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be
So
enough.
since
That'd be
they've
enough.
been-
to get
I'd be
me
like, yeah,
going,
do you know
I
what?
think.
Let's
But they
look at that.
actually stayed 28 days in the house, so it was 4 weeks. But this is the first week.
Wow.
So yeah, so after Christmas, after they took the lights down, it all got worse. A crazy stench, like a New York sewage
Like Blackburn.
stench was around the house. They were always trying to open the windows, but oh my god, this is good. They would always try and open the windows, but some wouldn't open, even though they'd be able to open the same window yesterday. They'd be like, what? One of the brothers was trying to open one of the windows in his room, lifting it up, and one of the other brothers was behind him, like, come on, like, you can do it. He finally, like, lifted it up and put his hands on the ledge and went, see, I've opened it, and the window, like, slammed shut.
Ooh.
Totally broke his fingers. Like, it was, like, skin to skin.
Ooh.
So the brother, the mum, the dad, and the dad's friend, like, obviously could hear him scream, so they like ran up, tried to get the window open, nothing would work. As soon as they stopped trying, the window just slowly like opened.
Ooh.
So his mum took him downstairs and all that, got some ice and all that, and was about to, I think they were like,
Got
let's
some
put some
ice.
ice!
Just
You
Or
need some
whatever.
milk.
He
Just
made
walk it
no
off.
milk! No, I think they were gonna like go to
I think
the
he'll carry
hospital.
on. He's just going.
Let's have some magic water.
Pete knows the reference. Fucking FIFA. He's a brave lad. I think he'll carry on.
Cheers.
Jeff?
Cheers, Jeff. So as she turns away, so he's sat down on like the table.
Right.
It's this boy. In the documentary I read, the boy who it happened to, like, talks about this moment and like he's still like shook, like
Shooketh.
I'm literally shooketh. Spirit guide. So he saw a full spirit apparition looking at him. And the spirit literally walked through his hand, sat next to him. He could see like the imprint on the chair. And he like looked at the spirit. As he looked back, his hands were like totally back to normal.
What?
But and then in the documentary, he only has like a kind of like a
stubby
little finger.
Slight curve in his little finger.
Oh.
But
So his hand was fixed.
yeah. I think you can see like some little Scott, but like literally he's like.
And I'm gonna put my skeptic hat on for a second. His hand was fixed, but no one outside of the family saw the damaged
I'm not saying
hand.
it's true.
No, I'm just.
But no, yeah.
I gotta throw the other side out there.
It
no
does
one
sound a
saw
bit-
it. It's like, yeah, I dramatically injured my hand, but then it was fixed because the ghost helped me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you can't use both as proof for ghosts.
Oh no, yeah.
But I still though. Spooky.
Still.
Spooky business.
Spooketh. The same kid remembers walking up the stairs after he just had an argument with his stepdad, and the mum was chasing up the stairs like, come on, let's talk about it. And the negative energy was in the house, and the energy, something dragged him up the stairs, but first, and she ran to get him. And he said whatever was dragging his body possessed him, and he felt possessed, and he didn't even recognise his mum, but as soon as she touched him, the spirit went into her. So he got to see it from like both eyes, and like her eyes were like glazed over and shit.
Right.
And it was like, what the fuck? So the news got involved because of like obviously like word on the street. So
Word on the avenue.
word on the avenue, Ocean Avenue, and to this day the family won't talk about it. It was night, so this is the last day.
To this day, the family won't talk about it. How
And
are
there
we
was
reading all of this
they
stuff?
won't talk about like what happened to them or something the last night.
Oh, right.
So it was night, creepy as always. The boys in the house always felt cold. The women always felt warm. The little girl was playing with her imaginary friend, who a few days before brought her like tried to like bring her to the roof and said, if you jump we can be friends forever. And she was saying to the mum and dad like, yeah, if I jump and all that we can be friends forever. So yeah, but the little girl didn't know the deaths of like anything, but she knew like all the kids' names who died in the house. Like yeah, my imaginary. She says that we can play with this kid. And do you know what I mean? So it's like what?
By name.
Yeah. So they spoke about it once to like a news reporter, but I don't think they'll speak about it. I don't know. But so it says the boys shared a levitating experience in the beds, and they were like crashing into each other.
Sounds like something
gonna
out
say.
of
Yeah,
a
that's
scary movie.
Yeah, they were screaming and the dad wouldn't move, but it was like something was sat on him. Next to him, his wife started levitating. He grabbed her arm and looked at her, and she had aged into a 90-year-old, and it took an hour for it to wear off.
I'm pretty
But there's
sure
other
this
family
is a scene,
friends.
This is a scene in Haunting Hill House.
Oh,
I swear
yeah.
it is.
And it took like an hour for it to wear off, but because after it happened, like there was like police and all that, and they saw like she's fucking old.
She old.
She old, man. He eventually got up. No phones would work. I think they like traced back. Like he could see like they could see like all the phones in the house wouldn't work.
Right.
So he was like, "What the fuck?" He was like doing every single phone and all that. Went downstairs into the basement, and that was the only phone that worked. He called the priest saying, "Come bless the house." The priest was basically like, "Fuck you, get out the fucking house." Do you know what I mean? You just fucking leave, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
They grabbed the kids, still in their night clothes, left, never came back, and moved to San Diego.
Very nice.
Fair.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a spooky story.
So
That's so
Yeah,
much
they
better
gave
than
an
mine.
exclusive
Mine's
interview.
So brief.
Ooh, now, this is one little other thing. So they gave like an exclusive interview and like a load of like skeptics and all that, and like they came to the house, like, you know, people who do like proper ghost investigations. They had like EVPs and all that.
Yeah.
And so obviously there was like no kids there. It was like a group of like 6 adults or whatever. And one of the cameramen, who was like one of the biggest skeptics, he was like, it's like total bullshit, but you know, it's my job, I've got to go around and take photos of the house. He started having like heart palpitations as soon as he like walked in the house. He's like, that's never happened. He was like, oh, whatever though. He just like weird, like he started feeling really ill and like really cold and like obviously, but the women didn't, and it was all a bit like, and he was like, oh, whatever. But he took a photo, and after it got developed, there was a little boy on the banister. So there was like no kids, no like Photoshop and all that. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was like all like adults in the house. They were all there when it got developed. And if you look at the original DeFeo family, it's the same like boy. It's one of the
creepy.
Right there. I'll show you guys a picture.
Get the evidence out.
If you guys want to Google this,
feel
free.
Or maybe we'll post on
we'll
Mom
post
It's My Life.
on Mom It's My Life. So that's the
creepy
photo.
as fuck.
That's
But after this, I'll show you the
actual kid. That's
So-
a really spooky photo.
pretty creepy. George found, this is like when he was in the house, so George's stepdad, he found a basement that wasn't on the original blueprint of the house, and he opened the door and brought the dog, and it was painted like red, and the dog refused to go in. In the snow sometimes they'd see like hoof prints leaving their house, like leaving, not the daughter would, this is another one, the daughter would always sing in her room, and when she left she just like stopped like normal, but as soon as she went back into her room she'd pick up where she left off with the song. And investigators found out that was a song that Jodie, the little girl, would always sing like on repeat, like in the house. There was 2 investigators called the Warrens, husband and wife duo. She was a medium. He was very knowledgeable. They were like the top team. They would go in and like bless the house when priests wouldn't. She said it was the closest to hell she's ever felt. And when she went in the playroom, she felt like 100 shadow people just like staring at her. And that's the room where the priest wouldn't go in. So.
That's really spooky.
Yeah.
That's a really
That's a great
spooky
story.
That is the Amityville horror.
Nice.
If you guys have any thoughts, any skepticism, any evidence to the contrary that you want to send us, send it over on @MomItIsMyLife on Instagram.
Oh, I've now changed it. I've got the username back, so it's Mom It's My Life
Mom
now.
It's My Life.
So, which is
Ignore.
very,
Nice.
very much easier.
Yeah.
If you guys wanted to watch the films based on it, there's 2. I think there's a 1970s one, which got released like 4 years after it happened, and then there's a 2005 one, I think, called the Amityville Horror. Wait, no, Amityville House or
Amityville Horror,
and then the real documentary,
which is a 2005 drama directed by Andrew Douglas.
Yeah, and then is there one like 1978 or something? But then there's the actual official documentary, which is called My Amityville Horror. If you guys want to check that out.
I'm going to try and watch all of these.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, we should have a band night and just watch all them.
Yeah, well,
We
maybe a bit closer to Halloween. We should get spooky.
So the original one was 1979, and the
Damn, I was 1 year
the
out.
reboot was 2005.
Yeah, and there was books written about it in 1977.
So if you're a big fan of IMDb like I am, the reboot got a 6.0 on IMDb, and the original got a 6.2.
Oh, okay.
Which doesn't seem too far off because the sequels often suck.
James Brolin was in it.
Mm.
He's a guy.
But yeah, that was a great story.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. Chris, do you want to go next?
Ryan Reynolds is in it,
In the new one.
and Chloe Moretz is in the new one. Yeah,
She follows me on Twitter.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
That's
Damn,
sick.
She favorited one of my tweets like last year.
Queen. We love you, Chloe.
Love you,
Shout out
Chloe.
to Chloe Moretz. Right.
Yeah.
This is a quick one because I was driving when Bron told us about what we were doing, and I haven't had time today.
Some
to...
classic Bronnie Hughes planning.
yeah. So this is The Cursed Grave of Carl Pruitt.
Oh, Carl.
Carl.
Oh, Carl.
Carl Pruitt.
Carl.
So,
Carl Pilkington.
The Curse. The story of the curse of Carl Pruitt's grave goes back to the afternoon of 1938 in Pulaski County, Kentucky.
Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Kentucky Fried Chicken. Pruitt returned home after a day's work and expected to find his wife in the kitchen. Unacceptable.
Bitch!
Well, he got what came to him. Instead, he found her in the bedroom with another man. Enraged, Pruitt grabbed a chain and started to strangle her, and her lover used the opportunity to flee the scene.
He's a basic bitch!
I know.
Coward.
After she was dead, Pruitt committed suicide.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so...
Romeo and Juliet, but not as romantic.
So Pruitt's wife's family refused to forgive Pruitt, so he was buried in a different cemetery in a different town. Visitors of the cemetery that came across Pruitt's grave noticed something odd going on. There was some discoloration that looked like circles, and then they started to link together to make it look like there was like a chain. It looked like a chain. On the tombstone. The odd discoloration drew the attention of some people, including a young group of boys who rode their bikes over to the cemetery about a month after the chain had formed. To impress his friends, one of the boys threw a rock at the tombstone, which chipped it. And as the boy who threw the stone rode home, he had a freak accident, and the chain came off his bike, wrapped around his neck, and strangled him to death.
No.
That's Final Destination shit.
That is a Final Destination.
Like, if that's legit, that's horrifying.
Yeah. So the boy's mother, who was obviously devastated, decided to take it out on the tombstone, and she took an axe and whacked it. And she whacked it. She whacked it a number of times. The next day, she was hanging up laundry when the clothesline somehow wrapped around her neck and strangled her to death.
People need to stop fucking with it.
Yeah.
Your kid fucked with a tombstone and got strangled.
Yeah,
It's like,
fucking tell me about it.
With the tombstone.
When her death was investigated...
Did she die?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, silly bitch. That's what you get.
When the death was investigated, the axe was found with rock dust on it. And it was dented, but Pruitt's tombstone was intact. There's nothing wrong with it,
I like that.
A short time later, a farmer who was riding in a horse-drawn cart, because this is 1938, with his family past the cemetery. For some foolish reason, he decided to fire his pistol at Pruitt's grave.
But why?
You better believe what happened next, motherfuckers.
No.
Did he get strangled?
So
By
the
his
gunfire
gun.
spooked the horses, causing them to speed up. The farmer's family jumped from the wagon, but the farmer stayed on until he was thrown from the carriage, and a rein wrapped around his neck and strangled that motherfucker to death.
Why are people so drawn to?
I have
fucking this
absolutely
tombstone?
no idea.
I'm gonna go and kick it.
Yeah. No, because then your shoelace will strangle you to death.
Keith's guitar string will snap off on stage.
Wrap around my neck. Yeah.
Next.
Oh
Yeah. It keeps fucking happening, mother people.
Mother people.
I was trying to stay PG.
You mother
You
people.
mother lovers.
Motherfucker. Say it, Chris.
Next.
Say it. Say fuck.
Fuck. Next, two policemen who were convinced the curse was nonsense went to the cemetery and took pictures of themselves with the area of Pruitt's grave.
Poppycock.
As they drove away, a bright light started to follow them, and they tried to speed away. This led them to drive off the road into a fence.
And it was Santa.
The officer in the passenger seat was thrown from the car and survived, but his partner, on the other hand, had been nearly decapitated by a chain between the two fences as he crashed out the car.
So what type of chain was it?
What?
Do you mean, a chain between two fences?
Like
I guess like
a wire.
like a length of chain that
Yeah.
you could use to lock a fence with a padlock.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Or his jean chain.
So
His wallet chain.
Yeah. His
Because he's
pocket.
an early 2000s
Yeah.
Charlotte fan.
So yeah, that's basically what happened. There's like a summary, I think, here. Paranormal activity. By the time the 1940s rolled around, most people were staying away from the cemetery out of fear of losing their own life. But not everyone did. One man went to the cemetery and started to smash the tombstone with a hammer. People could hear the hammer bashing against the tombstone, and that was replaced by blood-curdling screams. The townspeople investigated the cemetery, and they found the man dead at the gates. Apparently, he was frightened by something and ran away. As he got to the exit, the chain used to lock the gates somehow wrapped around his neck and strangled him to death.
That's what you fucking get.
After that death, bodies were exhumed from the cemetery, and a stripping company removed all the markers, including Pruitt's wrathful tombstone.
So,
There you go.
in that graveyard, there's no graves on. There's no names on graves.
It's no longer a graveyard.
That's really selfish.
Yeah. Well, no, they moved all the bodies somewhere else.
So it's like, hey up, Deirdre! You're
Yeah.
looking shite.
Yeah.
Get some roast dinner down your
Yeah.
lap.
That's 5 deaths from a tombstone.
That's I'd love to do some more research into that one.
I've
Never
tried.
heard of that.
There's not a lot, but
Okay.
there's not a lot that passed what I've basically read.
Yeah.
But
I do love the whole like haunted graves, like
Yeah. That was the bit that like got me. It wasn't like a ghost. It was like a,
Yeah.
It was the thing that like I was interested in it. It was like Final Destination.
Yeah.
And that's like that kind of shit I like. When it's
There's
like those are like
loads of-
horror film deaths, like thriller horror deaths.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So yeah.
I like that. It's a really good story.
Don't fuck
Remind
with
us-
Carl Pruitt.
Carl Pruitt.
Yeah, if you guys want to go and read up on the cursed grave of Carl Pruitt, be my guest.
Oh wait, we should. In fact,
Well, we'll attach a
try-
photo of Carl Pruitt. Look, there he is.
Hey, look at him.
Your boy.
Ooh.
The murderer. Yeah.
Well,
A
his
strange
wife shouldn't have.
mystery.
His
Oh,
wife
yeah.
shouldn't have
Yeah,
cheated on
see,
him. So really,
his wife should have been done for
Hang on,
manslaughter
let's
6 times over.
let's
To be fair, if he's the kind of person who's going to strangle someone,
Yeah, cheating is one thing, but murdering
Yeah,
is
I agree.
not a fair.
I'll tell you what.
punishment.
I'll tell you what. The dude who was sleeping with his wife got away with some shit, didn't he?
Yeah.
I'm surprised he didn't fucking.
yeah.
Go and eat the tombstone.
Yeah.
These aren't just any sausages. These are the finest ground up man flesh coated in nettle dust sausages, seasoned with dead moth wings. This isn't just any rice pudding. These are Mediterranean maggots in a lukewarm face pus broth topped with athlete's foot flakes. These aren't just any crunchy nut cornflakes. These are the toenail clippings off the child in school who never wore socks. This isn't just any food. This is Hell's Kitchen's Halloween specials.
All right.
Yeah.
Right, Peter.
I have a
Debbie?
tale for you.
Peter has a tail.
I'm going to turn my screen bright
Peter
so I
Rabbit.
can't see. I hand wrote my notes.
Ron
because
went
I'm
for
old.
25 minutes. I went for 8.
No, we were talking for like
All right.
5 minutes.
Ron went for 20 minutes. I went for 8. Let's go, Peter, again.
Right. So the scene.
Oh, set the scene.
We're in Massachusetts, 1851.
I thought you were talking about pop punks.
The scene.
the pop punk scene.
Bronnie, Waster. Phase 1.
So there was a mountain range called the Berkshire Mountain Range in Massachusetts. It's not particularly big, but it was
Right.
in the way of a railway company who wanted to build a railway between 2 towns either side.
Right.
So they set about making a 5-mile long tunnel, which they did finish. It took 24 years.
Ooh, doesn't seem like it's worth it.
It cost $21 million in 1851.
That
So
would-
that's like $500 million.
Yeah, I was
now.
saying.
I think it was like
Inflation rate.
$467 million.
Would it be easier to
now.
just knock down the mountain?
Yeah. But also 200 people died during the construction of this tunnel. Over 200 people. died. So skipping forwards a little bit because the spookiest...
Wait, so that wasn't that's got nothing to do with the spookiness of it?
No, well, I mean, it might contribute, but
Alright,
it's
okay.
the one of the spookiest bit happened in like 1865 to 66. I'm gonna save that till the end. So we're gonna jump forward a few years. So they for a tunnel, for a railway tunnel, you need a ventilation shaft to get all the fumes out, and they wanted to get water out as well and trade some water from it. So they were building a ventilation shaft that was due to go 1,000 feet down. At this point in 1867,
Did their ears pop?
probably it was 500 feet down by
Right.
the time it's done. So it's a pretty deep hole.
That's a deep hole.
And they had like a building on top that they had like a pulley system in for lowering and raising materials and people,
Right.
and they also had a water pump in there
Right.
to pull water
Yeah.
out from it.
Is there some chili and minor shit?
Yeah, basically. So they flick my page. On October the 17th, one of the lanterns started leaking. A gas lantern. So the building above blew up. And I think there were 13 men down the shaft at the time.
Oh no.
So the first thing that fell down the shaft were 300 freshly sharpened drill bits. Fell straight down the shaft, followed by the hoist mechanism, and then the burning wreckage of the building.
Oh, so they all died.
And then it flooded because the water pump exploded.
So they got fucked.
That's like 5 deaths in one.
That's some Final Destination.
It was really bad. That was obviously a tragedy. And then the following weeks, all the workers on the tunnel started to like hear cries and like shouts in agony, and started seeing apparitions as well of like miners, and then they would disappear and vanish, and they would
miners as in workers, not 5
yeah, not as in children. Yeah. Whenever I say miners in this story, I mean workers, not children.
People who work in
Oh my god, a miner!
And other people like educated visitors, like people who worked for the railway company and like trustworthy sorts would visit, and they would say the same thing, and footprints that would appear and then disappear, and seeing people walk and not leave footprints as well. And the people on the villages either side of the mountain would all report at night hearing cries and screams and stuff. So that was pretty spooky in itself.
Jesus.
Yeah.
When they reopened a year later,
oh Christ,
they went back down the shaft and they found the bodies of several of the workers and a raft. So they'd managed to actually construct a raft. Some of them who had survived the drill bits and the falling debris and stuff.
Everything that got through them.
So they managed to survive for a bit and then died because they were abandoned, essentially.
Yeah.
So that would maybe piss you off if you were a ghost, I guess.
Yeah.
And at this point, they took to renaming it the Bloody Pit.
Oh Christ! Why would you do that?
Spooky. So 4 years later, 2 men visited the place. We have a James McKinstry. Who,
he sounds like someone who's going to die.
Yeah, he was the drilling
Well, like
operations
James
superintendent for the project.
So he's to blame.
And then there was Dr. Clifford Owens as well.
Well, if he called Clifford, that's a big red dog.
Yeah, they were both very like well respected, well educated people. And I'm gonna read an excerpt from this is from
I love this.
This is Dr. Clifford Owens wrote this on the night. So he said, on the night of June 25th, 1872, James McKinstry and I entered the Great Excavation at precisely 11:30 p.m. We had travelled about 2 miles into the shaft when we finally halted to rest.
Wait, can I just stop this real quick?
Why the fuck? If this place is haunted, why are you going there at 11:30 fucking PM?
They've invested a shit ton of money in it.
11:30 PM?
Yeah.
Like, dude,
It's
go at
special.
like 2 in the afternoon with a meal deal and a torch.
It's dark either way. You're 1,000 feet into a mountain. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, but everything's cooler and scary at night. So if you're gonna go at night. Duh.
They're not there for
They're not
ghost stories.
hunting.
They're not ghost stories.
fair.
They finally halted to rest after 2 miles in. Except for the dim, smoky light cast by our lamps, the place was as cold and dark as a tomb. James and I stood there talking for a minute or two, and we were just about to turn back when suddenly I heard a strange, mournful sound. It was as if someone or something was suffering great pain. The next thing I saw was a dim light coming along the tunnel from the westerly direction. At first I believed it was probably a workman with a lantern. Yet as the light grew closer, it took on a strange blue colour that appeared to change shape and almost into the form of a human being without a head. Though it seemed to be floating about 2 foot above the tunnel floor.
Oh, fuck that.
Yeah. The next instant, it felt as if the temperature had suddenly dropped and a cold, icy chill ran up and down my spine, and the headless form came so close that I could have reached out and touched it, but I was too terrified to move. For what seemed like an eternity, McKinstry and I stood there gaping at the headless thing like 2 wooden Indians. The blue light remained motionless for a few seconds as if it was actually looking for us, and then floated off towards the east end of the shaft and vanished into thin air. I am above all a realist, nor am I prone to repeating gossip and wild tales that with a fine reasonable explanation. However, in all truth, I cannot deny what James McKinstry and I witnessed with our own eyes.
That's spooky.
So that's a spooky
That's
business.
real spooky.
So, and then more things carried on after that. So in 1874, a local hunter just vanished and showed up 3 days later on the banks of a river. He was alive, but he didn't have his rifle anymore, and he'd been absolutely battered. When
He got the spoons the
when
night
he-
before.
when he was questioned, he claimed he'd been ordered into the tunnel by voices and lights. And when he was inside, he saw ghostly figures that floated and wandered about in the dark. His experience ended with something unseen reached out and took his rifle from him and beat him with it.
Ow.
Yeah. There was more.
Was his rifle found in the tunnel?
No, it doesn't say.
I'd love to find that out.
Yeah. There was a railroad employee named James Poco claimed that he was warned of danger by a mysterious voice twice and told him not to go in.
He still went in though, didn't he?
No, he didn't.
Oh,
actually.
your boy.
In 1970
Someone's finally got some sense
Yeah.
about them.
Not this guy. Someone in 1973 decided to try and walk the full length of the tunnel. He went in and was never seen again. One man who did go through and make it out came out absolutely horrified and said he'd seen the figure of a man dressed in old clothing, and he basically just got out and cried and bailed. He was horrified by the whole thing.
Oh my god.
So there's loads of stuff, but getting back to so this is early days in the story.
Ooh, yeah.
This was
18...
this is 1865, so this is like 10 years
Come
after,
on, you
like
boys.
15 years after construction had started. 3 explosives experts went in to plant explosives to clear the way. That's how you make a tunnel through rock. One of them, a man named Ringo Kelly, Ringo Starr, accidentally triggered the explosives slightly too early, and he made it out, but he killed the other 2. And then he disappeared. Wasn't seen again for a year, where he was found in the tunnel a year later in the exact spot where the other 2 had died, strangled to death. Oh! I got shivers.
That's spooky.
Yeah, that's the story.
That's
the
a
story.
fucking.
That
is
is.
a great.
That's scary.
That's a great.
Thank you.
Very good. Hey.
Very good.
Yeah, there
Shout
you go.
out.
I think I got everything.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wow.
Scary shit.
To death, fuck.
Strangled to death. Yeah, like
Right.
that's what really.
Hey, maybe you
spooks
kick
me
that
about
too.
Yeah.
So you gotta think like maybe the ghosts of the people he killed got their revenge.
Yeah.
That's
Maybe.
crazy, guys.
Spooky shit.
Let us know in the comments to the post about this episode and in DMs what you think about all these stories.
Yes.
It's super
And
spooky and interesting.
Send us your favourite.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
link us
for
to
sure.
your ghost stories because we might do this again.
Yeah, there's gonna be a part 2 to this anyway next week. We're
Murder
gonna do
mysteries.
some
I'm a big
true crime.
Looking forward
True
to
crime.
some true crime shit.
Very
I'm a
excited.
big fan of
Yeah.
murder mysteries.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Hey, actually, something cool, weird happened on my Insta story.
Yeah.
So,
That was real weird.
my cat Kenny, little black cat, very cute. He was screaming at this thing in my room, literally going around the room, looking at something up at the walls. And it started he started growling under my bed, and I was like, what the fuck? Started filming him. And he came out, and 2 orbs came across the screen, and I was like, whoa, did anyone see that? And so many people were like, what the fuck? And I was like, oh, it might just be, I don't know, dust, whatever.
Yeah.
Did it again and it was after he was, had another, weird episode, screaming again. I was like, what the fuck? Filmed him again, and then, another orb, came across the screen and all that, and, as it did, it looked like it went under the bed, and then he turned and, walked under the bed.
Oh.
So I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
I've had some crazy light orb experiences where I was in bed one time and it was night, but I had my phone light on.
Masturbating furiously.
Yeah, absolutely. And I saw this light orb flying towards a closet, and then as soon as it reached it, heard that loud knock.
Oh.
It was probably the scariest shit that's ever gone on in
Yeah.
well, it was my old house actually, but it was scary.
That's
Have you had any weird?
I don't know. I've never really had any paranormal.
I'd tell a lie about this. This was in my
Gabby.
so my last family house, not where I lived last, but where I lived with my parents. It was quite it was a really old house, so it was automatically spooky, and it was big. And we were sat in one of the rooms playing Slender,
Oh,
So it's already scary.
yeah.
Obviously.
You've signed your fate.
Yeah.
basically.
So we were all on edge playing this stupid game. If you haven't played Slender, get on it. It's terrifying.
It's free to
Remember,
download.
me and George
Great game.
played that in Europe.
Yeah, I have. I've got Slender Man.
First time I
Got
played it, we played it out in a tent in my garden at night, and it was like, it was horrifying. But so anyway, so we're playing this game, we're getting into it, we're all a bit spooked, and then all of a sudden the lights like flicker once, and we're like, oh, that's a bit spooky, and then we carry on playing, and then the lights just went out in that room, and they never worked again.
Really?
Until we
Even
moved
if you
on.
tried to like replace the bulb.
Yeah, bulbs didn't do it.
No
Switches didn't.
way.
Yeah, nothing else on the floor. Like there wasn't a fuse problem.
Wow.
No, it was like it's part like
That's
I'm not going to
spooky.
say it's impossible that the wiring in that room went
But
faulty or
it's
something,
weird
but
how
it was,
at that time
yeah,
when you did it.
it was real spooky.
Yeah?
It was scary stuff. So please, send us your ghost stories, anything that's
Yeah.
happened to you that spooked you out.
Yeah.
We want to hear them.
Yeah.
And
I can't believe I've never had an experience.
well, I mean, being in the same room as me and Pete can be pretty
yeah.
daunting.
Pretty haunting.
That's
so,
very haunting. No, I've never I've had like dreams where I've had like I had this dream a couple of weeks ago. I told you two about it. Well, basically, I had this dream and I'd watched. I can't remember what it. Well, I'd seen clips of The Woman in Black a couple of nights before, and I really really like that film. I think it's great. I think like I watched the. I've seen it in at theatre.
Yeah,
and it's
same.
amazing. You know when you're talking
When
about the
Black
rocking
Crow
chair.
flies.
Yeah.
So have you seen it in theatre?
No, I haven't.
Right,
I
so there's
know
this
the
bit in
movie,
theatre
actually.
where the rocking chair's moving and it's behind like this, like a net curtain almost.
Right.
And it's rocking, and it goes back, and then when it comes forward, the woman's in it. And I don't know how they do it. It's incredible.
I went to see
it's
it.
so good. Would
Oh,
highly
no,
recommend.
Yeah, I know. I saw it in the, as in like the cinema.
No, as in
You
I actually
saw
saw the
it?
play.
Yeah.
If I would highly recommend if it's on around
We
you,
should
go
all
and see it.
go.
It's really good. And there's one bit. I'm not going to spoil it too much, but there is one bit where the woman walks through the audience. She just appears out of nowhere. Like I was on the top, and then all of a sudden I looked down, and because I saw something, and she was already halfway down the aisle, and I didn't see her before that. So spooky. It's really really well done. But so I had this dream that there was this woman in every doorway that I was looking at. I'd look at it and there would be a woman in the doorway and I was like, fuck. So then I turn around, I look back and she'd be gone. But it was every doorway I went through. So I kind of got used to it by the end of it, right? And then I woke up. I was like,
Still in the zone, or?
It was a dream.
Yeah.
It was fine. And I was a bit spooked by it. And then I got the gig drum teching for someone, and I was drum teching, and I went to fix something on stage during the gig, and I looked in the wings, and she was still there. So I was in a dream within a dream.
Oh.
And the thing is, then I actually woke up, and I was so paranoid, because I was like, am I still dreaming or not? Yeah, that was spooky.
That's a creepy dream.
It's a creepy dream within a dream. But the
Yeah.
reason I then knew it was completely bullshit, the second one, obviously, because I woke up in the dream, but I was drum teching for Neck Deep. So,
Oh, damn. One day.
I saw a really spooky play. I don't know if you've seen it. Ghost Stories.
Dude! Stop! As soon as I was literally about to, I was about to say ghost stories.
Yo, Spirit Guide.
very good.
Right, Chris, like an hour ago, he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm just watching this like really creepy video," and Pete was like, "Oh
You knew
yeah."
I was looking at ghost stories.
No, yeah, but yeah, because you said creepy, like weird ass video, and then Pete was like, "Oh fuck yeah, I've seen that." I was like, "Oh, is that the like that lamb girl who's in the elevator lift?"
Eliza Lamb.
Eliza Lamb.
That's crazy.
It was spooky.
Well, that's so
You
weird.
got it,
I
you
knew
got
you
it
were gonna say that,
first.
and I knew you were gonna say ghost stories.
The craziest thing about the Eliza Lamb one, just to interrupt real quick, if you haven't seen the Eliza Lamb thing or read about it, I'm not going to spoil any of it. Look it up. It's really, really interesting.
It's really.
But the one thing I am going to spoil is that, so she was found in a water tank,
Oh.
inside the water tank, but to get into it, it's so heavy to get into it that they had to get 6 blokes to try and lift it. They couldn't lift it, and they had to cut it open to get into it.
But she was found.
But she was found in there, drowned,
She was face up.
Incredibly spooky.
face down.
I thought she was face up. I
Face
reckon
down.
she was
Most
fine.
people drown face down, don't they?
No, but she was found face up.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's some creepy.
Yeah.
Pete, what were you gonna say?
Ghost Stories.
Oh, yeah,
it was
right, the
an
play.
incredible play. It was, I think I saw it not the premiere, but they premiered it in Liverpool. So I went to one of the runner shows there.
I saw it in London.
Ooh.
Yeah. In fact, sorry.
It was fucking amazing.
Really?
Like some of the tricks they play on
Yeah.
stage.
Is it
some of
like the builders when they're.
Oh my god, yeah. And
Is it like different stories?
yes, like 3 different
Right.
stories,
Alright, okay.
but all told by a narrator who actually
Oh, right.
ends up being relevant
Yeah.
in a non-original. Actually, and they pumped like the smell of bleach through the theatre, like at the end of it, which tied into the story.
Oh,
and,
wow.
it was such a mindfuck. But one of the like creators of it worked heavily with Darren Brown as well.
Oh.
right.
So he had all the like
All the
all the
little
little
tricks
mind
and-
tricks and
oh, wow.
stuff to get you really drawn in. It was so fucking good.
That is now on Netflix.
Yeah,
those
they made a
stories.
film about it. Yeah.
Oh,
The dude who was in The Hobbit, or whatever, what's his
Elijah
name?
Wood.
Elijah Wood.
Is that him?
I mean, he's
the Hobbit.
Yeah, he
Wait.
is Frodo.
Yeah.
Right.
And he's in The Nativity. He's a teacher from Nativity.
Yeah.
Yeah, him.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah, no, we should all
Damn.
watch that.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you very much
Guys, thank you for
for
listening.
listening. This has been a really
Yeah.
fun episode.
This
This has been a great episode.
We don't even need to cut this, really.
We don't need to cut this. We've actually finally done one that we can just
Yeah.
sit here and listen to the whole way through.
Exactly, just chilling. So,
Amazing.
Join us next week when we'll be discussing some true crime mysteries.
True crime.
Getting in the spooky spirit.
Absolutely, guys.
This has
It's
been
been
real.
real.
Oh, spirit guide.
Spirit guide. Right, guys. We will see
We'll
you soon.
see you next week for some true murder
Haunting.
mysteries.
Woo!
Lame.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Mom It's My Life podcast. Bronnie and Pete are hobberknockers who forgot to end the podcast, so now I'm here. I don't get paid enough for this job, man. Fuck.